All right, let's bring our host on. Hey, Tyler.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Willow. Hey,
Hey,
Keisha. Feels like I haven't seen you ladies
I
in a
haven't
long
seen you in a
time.
whole minute. I feel
I
like
know.
it.
What's up?
Not much, man. Not much.
I,
I
I
was
love I
last
love
minute
this.
painting, so
That's
with a
awesome.
pen and my notebook.
Hey,
So
that's all that matters. Art is art. It's all subjective, right? I mean, it's like you can't really compare like a Bruce Timm drawing of Batman to like Alex Ross Batman. You just got to
oh,
both be like, oh, they're both
absolutely.
Batman and they're good. You just got to
they're
let
both
it go.
beautiful.
I like Kelly's painting right here. I
Thank
wish I could find
you.
it. I was trying to find the picture. I was taking me longer. My wife, when we had Solomon, what she did was in the corners of where the two walls met, from the crease, one side was Gotham and had a skylight like that, like the city with the bat signal shining, and the other side was Metropolis, and she did like the silhouette of the Daily Planet and
Oh,
everything.
that's
Ooh.
And then
cool.
so like right above his crib, like one side was Metropolis and one side was Gotham. I gotta find that picture and I'll share it with you, ladies. I was trying, but I was making this little video here. I got shared here at the bottom to pull up for us to use in our discussion because we're going to talk about DC films, and I made a little quick guided video for part of our discussion here today. Uh,
Excellent. Okay, real
I
quick before you say that, we are at $3.95, y'all. Let's keep the
excellent.
donations coming. Our goal is $1,000. And remember, if you donate, email to phoenixescosplay@gmail.com so you can be entered to win our amazing prizes.
and I'm just going to say that if we need to keep this going, I'll talk forever. I mean, I'll just keep bringing people on. I'll grab stuff off my shelf and I'll just talk about the stuff on my
So
By
shelves.
all
you
means,
Uh,
hey, if you, I'm like I love DC movies, and despite what Brian's is saying in the chat, um, yeah, no,
Yes,
I'm a
yes.
huge fan of what DC has been doing so far with movies. I haven't been really paying much attention to the TV shows, so I
oh,
apologize.
that
That I'm a
hurt.
little out of touch with.
all
That
I'm going to
hurt.
say is one thing people need to understand is DC is owned by Warner Brothers and they haven't, Warner Brothers makes the movies. It's not
Yep.
like Marvel Studios where it started as Marvel as a company made their own movie studio that then was bought up with Disney, and Marvel Studios itself runs a separate branch. So there's a different method. DC properties are not like there's not like a DC Studios. They started that when they were going to do Titans, and then that kind of changed and fell apart. So there's not like a section that's just DC in a studio sense. There's people, but it's still under just the Warner Brothers. Much like we're going to be getting the next Fantastic Beasts. There's not a Harry Potter like Wizarding World Studios department. So it gets clunky because
Yeah.
you have people, and people know if they see me or talk to me, I am always the optimist. So I'm going to talk about the positives. We'll hit some negatives if we have to, but I'm not sure how. Like I did this yesterday with John. I was able to get this video shared. I don't know if one of you have to approve it to get this popped up on the
Oh,
screen
yeah.
here.
Did you send it to me?
It's right here in the
It's a
shared at the
share
bottom.
your screen. I can
Oh,
bring it up.
It's this
excellent.
is
Thank you.
we did this yesterday with our Richard Donner discussion. Okay, woo. Yes. So DC films is my quick little thrown together. I tried to hit all the highlights as much as I could, but we're gonna look at like just a quick history, and then we'll get to what's going on. These two are probably the first, without going into like the serials that played, and the Fleischer cartoons. Like these two represent the first theatrically released DC films, and we're going to see some patterns here. Okay, we have Superman the Mole Man, and then the 1966 Batman movie with Adam West,
God, can we talk
and
about how
then
amazing their outfits are?
uh, yes, and skin tight. That's how we like them.
Yeah.
And then we have the next from 78 to 87. Yeah, we have Superman films. We have one, two, three, and four. We're gonna see some, like I said, we're seeing some patterns here. And then this is a nice collage that just kind of touches on the next big thing is in '89 we got Batman. 92, 95, 97. And then, of course, um, we see how Batman films have continued in 2005, 2008, and then 2012. And then we'll get back to that one. So we're seeing that DC basically was really focused on two characters with their film projects. And then this is the era I call the lost era, because I feel like these films are so disjointed.
Yeah.
We have Superman Returns, which was supposed to be, the reboot comeback of Superman, but then it was a one-off. It's a very interesting one-off of a film. Green Lantern was supposed to be the start of the DC's connected universe, but then that kind of got scrapped and pushed aside, and it became a one-off. Jonah Hex, the one-off. Catwoman, why did they ever make this movie? I don't know. Steel, also released in 97. It's a very odd film because Steel's origin is so closely tied to the death of Superman, but yet Superman is not mentioned. One film poster that I didn't get in time to make this because I was working on it before the panel was, of course, in the 80s was Supergirl, the film as well. And that was going to connect into the Christopher Reeve era. So that's kind of our history. And then this is what I call the modern era. This is what's been released and's already come up to now. So anything that we've I kind of went through it quickly, just kind of the history.
No, I appreciate you doing this, by the way, like that.
Super extra, but it's fantastic.
No, I love that though, because it gives us a visual. It gives us a visual on what we're talking about. And you are definitely ready to talk about this. And I thank you very much for doing the legwork on that.
I just, this week, right now we're having a snowstorm. So I'm just waiting to get a message from the kids' school that there's no school again this week.
I feel your pain. Like where I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, we're in the middle of a almost a week-long snowstorm with some breaks in between.
So I'm just like, it's been crazy this past week. I would have had this done, but what is some of your experiences with the films up to the modern era? What's anything? Okay.
Tyler did his homework. Tyler understood the assignment.
I did.
Keisha,
so let's talk about any films that we did up to here. What's kind of your any experiences with those past films? Anybody?
Okay.
Who's
sorry.
Going
Keisha,
first?
do you want to go first?
Pelly, go for it.
Okay. I will defend Batman Forever to anyone. Fight me. At me, bro. Come at me, bro. Okay. Well, first of all, Batman 89, the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, some of them anyways, are everyone, like no one's gonna fight about those. those are wonderful films. And those are the start of like a renaissance for comic book movies in a lot of ways. But okay, so Batman Forever is underrated and unfairly hated. I'm a poet and don't know it. And it's everything I love in a comic book movie. And I know I'm looking at it through the eyes of nostalgia, but it's a fun comic book movie, okay? And it's a fun Batman movie. Come at me.
I'm there with you. I'm there with you because I had a really bad experience with Batman Returns. I've talked about this before. Went to the theater. My mom hated it. She wanted to take me and my brother out of the theater. She hated that movie. We weren't allowed to watch that movie when it came out. It was just a really negative experience. So when Batman Forever came out, there was a little bit more hope, and going to see it. And at the time, my brother and I were both a little bit older. So we're that perfect age to really dial into that movie. And you had the McDonald's tie-ins, which was nice. Mm-hmm. And it was just an enjoyable time. And then with Batman and Robin was an even more fun time because the tie-ins exploded. The film was rushed. It has its problems. It was the creative forces lost all power. It was all studio and toy companies. But you know, you had cereal boxes, Taco Bell, the toys were everywhere. And it was, you know, my brother and I were a little bit older then, and it was nice because now we could play Batman and Robin and not fight over who was Batman or anything like that. And, you know, the thing about like now with Batman and Robin and Batman Forever is those are the films I can easily show my kids so that they get to see a live action Batman that's entertaining. Um, it's bright, it's colorful. There's a, you know, stuff going on because they can't really sit down and watch like Batman Begins or The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
They get bored. Like it's like, oh, what's going on? Where's Batman? But you know, so I defend those movies now because they're great in the sense that those are the ones you can show kids that build up into the fandom of
Mhm.
you know the Nolan films and so on. Um, you know, but
Yeah.
of course, I saw Batman Returns Forever and Batman and Robin in theaters. I was just a wee too young to go see Batman '89 in theaters, but I remember the VHS commercials. You know, the got to get your Warner Brothers ball cap to watch a Warner Brothers movie. Um,
Yeah.
so you know, and then I
See,
saw Steel in theaters. People, I saw Steel in theaters because I would
And
go
we're
see
not
any comic book
alone
movie.
with the Batman Forever love. Kristen saw Batman Forever twice in the theaters. Ryan also liked Batman Forever.
okay, so there is some love for that. Okay. I know the hatred began with Batman and Robin. I yes, I yes, that movie was kind of cheesy, but I did kind of like it in a way too.
Mhm.
I'm not a huge fan of Uma Thurman's version of Poison Ivy,
Yeah.
but Arnold Schwarzenegger. Can we talk about the fact that he put on like a 50-pound suit right after he had a heart attack?
Yeah. Poor Arnold.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you know what's also. Do you guys realize that Chris O'Donnell never shot one scene with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, really.
He's gone on the
Huh.
record because they were shooting so fast that because of how they were shooting so fast that a lot of times it was just his stunt double in suit that Chris was reading off of or being with because they were
Ooh,
just and
that's
he's talked about
crazy.
it um, in
interesting.
interviews and stuff. And yeah, I mean, you think about it, you're like, holy cow. Um,
That's wild.
yeah, I mean, if anyone has the Batman Blu-ray set, not the 4K, like the Blu-ray they put out a few years back, it has a great Batman documentary. It's one part of the documentary is on each one of the different film discs. It's a great watch.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, so I have to back you up for a second because you said something about Catwoman.
She's gonna defend the Catwoman. I think
Do
she
it.
is.
Okay,
hey,
Do
it's
it.
cool.
so okay,
She-
so it came at a time in my life, okay, where I aspired to be Catwoman. Okay,
Mm.
like right after
Raw
it came out,
people,
like that's what
skin tight clothes,
everybody
got it.
wanted. That's what everybody wanted to be for like Halloween. I remember like vividly like walking past all of these people dressed up in a tight black suit with the ears and everything. And like I don't know, it just kind of engraved it into my brain and it I don't know why. Okay, so explain to me why you don't like it and I'll explain to you why I like it.
You're fine. I mean, I will not judge anyone for liking
I
what they like. And my thing was, you know, the thing is, I remember watching the trailer and I wanted to find the trailer and kind of put the narration is basically the plot of The Crow, but with cats. Like it, because it talks about like your soul dying and a cat bringing you back. And I'm like, that's The Crow. Like, and
First of all,
the
I'm okay
problem,
with that too. So
the
yeah,
problem
go
is
on.
like, it's Catwoman. It's like DC's Catwoman, but it's not any Catwoman we've ever known by name. The character's brand new. The whole premise is different. It's a supernatural esque Catwoman. And I am going to say this: Jania and I are about to revisit this movie for our Patreon podcast. where we're going to commentate and watch it. It's $1 a month for our Patreon. I'm not, out there trying to take people's money, but we do a lot of fun, and our commentaries are enjoyable because you never know what's going to happen. It's one I've seen only, I think, one time, but it was so departed from the character in so many aspects, from the character name, the secondary characters, the world, and even the costume, that it just felt like this complete disjointed, out in left field. Like, it's only Catwoman because they call it Catwoman.
See,
Yeah.
though, that's
But go
the
ahead,
thing
go ahead.
that I loved about it is it was Catwoman. So I say I hate cats now. So I used to be in a club called THTK. Don't ask. Long story. It was called Think Happy Thoughts Cats. Um, if you guys want to know what my childhood was like, and so, so, so like when I was in that club, is about the time that the movie came out. I think what 2004, four,
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah.
four-ish. Okay, so as as I'm in this super awesome cat club, this movie about a super cat comes out, and I'm like, that's my jam. By the way, I hate cats now. They're the bane of my existence. I have 3 of them. Oh dear lord. But so that was what drew me to it. I know it's a super simple reason,
That's fair.
but again, nostalgic reasons are valid, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Right. I mean, I like Superman 4 better than Superman 3.
Oh,
And
okay.
I have my reasons.
Yeah.
One is I saw it a lot more growing up. It's a shorter movie. It has some cool parts to it. 3 has some cool parts, but it feels very long and
Well,
disjointed.
The thing with number 3 is, are we not supposed to be talking about number 3? Is that didn't fandom retcon number 3 and say
See,
that it doesn't exist?
I want to make a chart, because to me, Superman the movie has the problem as other franchises, because you have version 1 where it's Superman the movie, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4. Then you have version 2, it's Superman the movie, Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. Then you have version 3 where it's Superman the movie, Superman 2, Superman Returns. It's like, follow where you want to go, because you have these 3 different timelines almost.
Being a comic and superhero fan, though, is you can cherry pick your canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is like, and then there's, of course, Superman the movie, Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, and then Superman Redeemed. And if you're like, what's that? Superman Redeemed is a fantastically made, high quality, beautifully done fan edit that takes elements from Superman 2, the Richard Lester cut, Superman 3, and Superman 4, and makes one film out of them. And there's a great episode I was on the podcast, Digging for Kryptonite, where Anthony and I really broke that down and talked about that. It's an amazing watch. So there's a version that way, where you have Superman the movie, the Richard Donner cut would be the sequel to that, and then Redeemed is the sequel to the Richard Donner cut.
Okay.
It's very, very interesting, because Superman Returns holds a special place in my heart, because when it came out, first of all, it was the first Superman film that I got to see in theaters. Also, it was just the perfect time. I needed that film in my life at the time. A lot of changes going on, and I just really needed that, like, the message of what that film was. And but I love that movie, but it has its flaws, and we're talking about films. So let me back a second here. Growing up, I had Batman with Adam West, like, at home, because that was like the only thing you could find. And then Batman 89, because you couldn't find the TV show to own. I don't even know if they put TV shows back then, but and then it was on
Not like today
reruns
where they're releasing
Yeah.
it on DVD and
Every
Blu-rays.
platform known to man.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So, yeah, I enjoyed Batman with Adam West. I enjoyed it as a kid. But like they would say when Batman Forever came out, that's what, from a live action point of view, that's where I was like, yes, like this is awesome, because I had Batman and I had Robin, so my brother would be quiet. And then I said this, this is something. What boggles my mind is you're making two movies that are filming about the same time. You're Warner Brothers, okay? In 2005, you released Batman Begins, a complete reboot, dark, gritty, down to earth, serious Batman film. The next year, you release Superman Returns, which is a midquel sequel going back to your 70s brand.
Yeah.
I'm just like, there's some, what? Like, you think if you were rebooting one, you would kind of take a similar approach to the other, but you don't. And I mean, there's a whole history about where Superman was and all the reboots and stuff that came before and that whole mess. But it always kind of boggled my mind how that got so mixed up. And then, I mentioned this quickly, did you guys know that originally in Green Lantern, they approached the filmmakers that wanted Henry Cavill to cameo at the end as Superman, and the Ring would kind of or not at the end, the Ring would try to would go past him, but realize he's Kryptonian and then move on. But they didn't want to connect their Superman project to the Green Lantern film.
Ooh. Yeah, no, I didn't know.
I did not know that.
And I've often said that if Green Lantern would have come out in 2007, it would have been a hit.
Oh, absolutely.
It would have blown up. It would have been this mega comic book film that we look back more with like a better view.
So I think they should definitely so
Absolutely.
I think that would definitely be how that played out, though, because I know people that were obsessed with Green Lantern in general. Like, I've got a hoodie of it upstairs. I should have worn it. I probably should have.
I will defend that movie myself because I know a lot of people are going to be shocked because.
But I know
Green
a lot of
Lantern.
people that also made fun of it.
My issue was, one, it has a great line in the film that I use all the time. When my kids say I'm thirsty, I'd be like, "There's water in the tap," and I just walk away. My thing was my best friend Devin. We saw the trailer together. He loves Green Lantern. He's a huge Hal Jordan fan. Like that's his Green Lantern. And I said to him at the time, okay, now this is in the past here. I was like, Ryan Reynolds is not Green Lantern to me. I was like, you know who they should have had was Chris Pine. Of course, Star Trek had just happened. So I'm like, dude, Chris Pine would have been an amazing Hal Jordan. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And, we saw the film and it was like, the film suffered from one, that they didn't do Hal Jordan. They did Hal, but we amalgamized certain elements of other Green Lanterns like Kyle Rayner into this character. So it's not really like purely the character of Hal. And there was things in it that just didn't quite gel. And, we were at that time, the MCU had really started.
We're losing Tyler.
But there was so many great
What?
actors in that film that I feel like a lot of the stuff that are being picked apart by us nerds, by us fanboys, can be forgiven because it's a movie that is introducing new people to the fandom. And so Michael Clark Duncan, I'm having a giant brain fart on who plays Sinestro. But
Mark Strong Sinestro is amazing. He is a highlight of that film. Kilowog is a highlight. And one thing I had with that film was, I think if you would have re-edited it somewhat, it would have worked, because if you think you do this kind of interesting prologue and you're introduced directly in the movie to weird alien creatures, I think if they would have immediately started kind of with this, they should have opened with the death of Hal Jordan's dad. And then when the plane explodes is when Hal Jordan wakes up, and then it's, Ryan Reynolds and he jumps out of bed. And that should have been that's where we should have started the film. We should have got in with Hal. And then after he crashes his plane, we should have cut the space and then got introduced to the conflict with the aliens.
Yeah.
And I don't hate the movie. I like I said, it's kind of, in my mind, it exists on the same earth as Superman Returns. So they're out together fighting evil as the forgotten films. But that's
I-
kind of, excuse me, crash course of just
They did a fantastic job on a lot of the CGI. Okay, minus yes, they could have done the mask better, and some of
mask
the.
Okay, so Brian, here's the scoop on that. Sorry to cut in, but so they were developing a buddy cop film with Jon Stewart and Hale Jordan. The latest is that HBO Max is doing a Green Lantern series that is going to be the Green Lanterns of different eras. So they're going to have Alan Scott's going to be the Green Lantern of like a past era. Kyle Rayner is going to be the Green Lantern of current era. I'm actually really excited about this.
And
Okay.
Guy Gardner.
And Guy Gardner, thank you. Yep. So they're gonna follow those Green Lanterns that haven't gotten as much attention even in like animated series, and so I think John and Hale are still kind of being saved for a potential movie, but sounds like so. Let's talk about the
It's a
future.
mess.
Yeah, I guess let's not jump ahead to the future of DC yet. But my big complaint with DC is that they are too scared to take chances on unknown characters.
Well,
because they think
hold that
thought.
thought, because we're seeing a shift, and we're going to get there. Because the big thing that I wanted to touch on is how we've only had Superman, Batman, Superman, Batman, Superman, Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, and that still applies now. So now we're at what I call the modern era. We're cracking open with Man of Steel. We ended 2012 with the close of the Christopher Nolan Batman. So we're, and originally December of 2012 was supposed to be the release of Man of Steel, but they pushed it to summer of 2013. 2013, we get Man of Steel, which, and I've said this repeatedly, Man of Steel was never designed to launch a universe. The only connective tissue that's in there is like two things for Bruce Wayne, which is done in post. It was, it's a symbol on a satellite and in a background in the city. That was all done in post. That was never designed to build a universe, because if you think about it, if you look back at that film and in your mind, like, I'm going to build a whole universe around here, you would have introduced more characters. Colonel Hardy should have been like a Hank Henshaw or something. Like that would have been like Christopher. Yep, I'm screwing up his last name. I don't even want to say it. But him as Colonel Hardy is amazing. Could you imagine him as a Hank Henshaw type character, where we would see him come back or something like that? So we have Man of Steel come out, which is kind of the Superman response to Batman Begins.
And I absolutely enjoyed Man of Steel.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I'm sorry, guys. Yes,
there's no apologies needed. You like what you like, okay?
Like, people are like, "Oh, Superman isn't supposed to kill anybody." What would you do in that situation where the guy's literally destroying your hometown, has killed how many people?
Put him in a headlock.
I'm sorry, you
take him out back.
You would stop him at all costs.
I'm of two minds about that. One, yes, I agree. And Superman has killed in the comics. People forget that. But two, the writers choose which situations to put a character in. So the writers made a choice to put him in that. And don't get me wrong, I really liked Man of Steel too, but I think that it was maybe a poor choice for the writers to put him in that situation where he had no other choice. But I still enjoyed Man of Steel a lot, and like Amy Adams as Lois Lane, I loved so much. and
Mhm.
I loved a lot about Man of Steel, but that particularly the writers writing him into that corner so early, I feel like
Like, yeah, they could have done more with the Zod character. They could have introduced, like they could have made that the main bad guy for the sequel. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they could have done. But Man of Steel was a fantastic movie. Sorry, go ahead.
yes,
No, I don't say. Let's not forget that in Superman 2, he turns human, crushes Zod's hand, and throws him in the canyon.
yep,
So he kills Zod. And for anyone who wants to argue with
Killing
me
everywhere.
about how there's a deleted scene where the Kryptonian criminals were arrested, not having powers, that's in a cut. And we talked about how there's like different narrations to this. It's not in the theatrical release. It's not in the masked sold version. In all reality, he killed Zod. Just it was in a fun, crafty kind of way that people, overlook. His identity being an open secret, but I grew to love it through I agree. I liked the fact with Man of Steel 1, there was no kryptonite yet. It entered a different dynamic to the character and the situation. 2, I like trying something different with Lois, where she's getting to love and like Clark, seeing him for all of who he is, and
Yeah.
she knows from the beginning. It was a different approach.
Mhm.
We had to try something different because we haven't hit on it, but Superman has had a long history on television. And
Yeah.
it's always been funny to me that Batman is this detective, and you would think detective stories would work on TV,
yep.
but Batman really has not had that many TV series. He's had 2, and then spin-off types. But you would think Superman on the big screen, Batman on the small screen, but it's kind of worked in the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
All that said, I do like Man of Steel. It's not perfect. I don't think there is a perfect Superman movie. I love Superman the movie. There's parts in it where I'm like, okay. But the thing is, I read enough of the different comics to understand where they're pulling from, and I can see where a filmmaker wants to do certain things with the character, like part of the whole killing Zod was supposed to be an arc of his journey, building
Yeah.
to more of like him trying to find a way to not have to kill again and stuff. But that gets kind of lost. And so the next, film is BVS, Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, which is a ridiculously long title for no reason.
I do not like the whole Batman v Superman title. I don't know. That has always bugged me about it. Like, why would you name your movie Batman v Superman? So I always refer to it as Batman versus Superman, but just
I agree.
Well, like the V was supposed to represent like the idea of like conflict and not like versus. Like in a court case, it's like V. I just never liked the title, period, because the conflict between the two of them fighting is like it's people who got hooked on in the 80s and got stuck with comics and the Frank Miller in the 80s.
I know.
And I'm not a huge Dark Knight Returns fan. I don't like, and even in that book, you have Superman and Batman fighting after a history together. I think the Superman the Animated Series, World Finest, does a better job of introducing these characters, showing some sort of a conflict between two people with different ideas, but then working together.
I agree.
I would have liked in Dawn of Justice that the midpoint of the film be that Superman and Batman fight and come to their terms with each other, and then the back half is them working together instead of it like they fight, then oh crap, and immediately they have to jump into the next situation.
yeah.
So that's actually what my wallet has on it. Is on one side of my wallet it's Superman, on the other side it's Batman, and it's Superman versus Batman.
That's awesome. I mean,
It is. It's one of those destructible ones that I found out how to destruct. But yes. So okay, so Tyler, let me just start by prefacing that, like, your knowledge fabulous because I'm just sitting over here like listening because my brain goes, how are you remembering all these names and stuff like this? Because my name goes, movie good. I like movie. And you're over here like, yeah, this person, and I'm like, okay.
I'm even trying to dumb it down because because I want to get onto like I want to. We're talking about the whole history of like films, and we're talking about the films, and like we have the upcoming. But I know that Kelly and I have a point that we want to come up to too, because one thing that we haven't talked about is the animated films, and we're going to touch on that quickly. But
Please do, because I love hearing your opinions on this, because
yeah, I'm just over here awestruck. Going,
I watched I think the Wonder Woman one was animated movie was pretty much the last one that I watched. So I apologize, I'm a little far
what
behind.
about the Lego movies? Batman.
see, I didn't
that was
like
a masterpiece.
Yes.
I didn't even get to put them in my thing because I was trying to catch up with so much because you have Lego Batman, which was a good film. I enjoyed Teen Titans Go to the movies because there was a lot of tongue-in-cheek references and a lot of like winking at you type stuff in that movie. And so the problem, okay, we're all, we have the problem where in 2016 we get Batman v Superman. It's not quite what people wanted. Then we get the re-edited Suicide Squad movie. And that movie I enjoy. Good job, Carl. But
Yes.
Suicide Squad, the way it's edited, if you watch it, it feels kind of like this montage of beats up until the helicopters crash. And then all of a sudden it's a serious movie. Because if you watch it and they're cutting away, they're doing all these like little segments, and then all of a sudden it's like, now we're on the ground.
I can see
it's
that.
a different, and it's a different movie. And
But
I am a
also
person
love
that
it.
I want to see the air cut, because the idea that a filmmaker creates a product, a complete vision, and then someone changes it and reshoots and changes, and then you get this totally off film. I'm always intrigued by what the original was. So I want to see the air, and I don't want to go down no rabbit holes here, but I think Jared Leto was a good Joker. But I think the issue,
I loved him as the Joker. Just throwing that out there.
and all I'm saying,
on.
this is my okay. Your job is you have to create a new way of this iconic character following Heath Ledger.
Oh, yeah.
And you deliver a performance, but then your performance gets chopped up into these little segments to where people don't really get to see your performance. They just get to see these little vignettes of you, and it feels disjointed. It feels you don't know what he's doing because you haven't got a chance to experience the character.
Lauren says, "Oh no, you didn't."
And I mean, look at
No, you have good points though. Like
just for an actor. I mean, he did a role that what he did we haven't seen. A lot of the footage that's edited out of the film was Joker footage, so there's more performance of him actually crafting a character.
Right.
Yes. I would have
And there was
loved
more
to see the backstory of it because I really wanted them to make a spin-off of just Harley Quinn and the Joker because they show so many snippets throughout the movie that you're like, there's a lot of
There's a
talk
story
behind
there.
the scenes, and they're like, there's so many different things that you can go into. I really don't want to fall down that rabbit hole right now.
I mean, one is
Because
the
I
whole thing
will.
was-
This is one of my favorite movies, so my brain is like, okay, Keisha, shut up.
No, talk, because I even bought the novelization of the film because the novelization has more of the stuff that was in Era's original script. And I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Okay, I'm
'cause
putting that on
'cause I
my
wanted
to be read.
Because I want to, because they talk about, there's a line where Joker mentions, and there was a whole more about the shock treatment that he was getting from Harley and how that was messing up more of his mind and,
Oh wow.
Stuff like that. And
So do you think that's what essentially got Harley, because they do show him shocking her. Do you think that's why she ended up being so messed up and being like, okay, you know what? Because she was slowly falling in love with him. But then towards the end, when he tried to take advantage of her and get out of jail, like you see the shocking thing. Do you think that's what further messed her up and was willing to make
I
her
can
like
see that.
kill all those, or not essentially kill all those people, but help in, all of the awful things that the Joker did? That I still love him though. I have a thing for bad guys apparently. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But no, that's a very good point. Like, I'm the problem with being a fangirl and fanboy of these comics is whenever a movie comes out, we're picking them apart. It's like, no, this is not our Joker. This is not our Harley.
It's not what we're used to.
We want to see a rendition like we read.
You want the
screen.
perfect pure version. You're like, if this is what's going to be represented for the mass media, for people who don't follow everything in comics and TV, I want the one version I can point you and say that's the character.
Yeah. This is my pain as a Black Canary fan watching Arrow.
But that's different for different people, I feel like.
You got
some
three
people are like,
Black Canaries
this is
on
my
Arrow,
specific
and you're like,
one.
Every single one of them is wrong.
And we're not going to get that.
I love you, Kelly.
Well, we're going to get close to it. And okay, everybody loves Heath Ledger as Joker. But if he was alive today, would he have won that Oscar?
I want to say yes, because his performance is amazing. There's little things he does that you don't always catch, like how he changes his voice when he speaks with different people, little ticks that he did depending on who he's talking to. And he did a great job disappearing into the character. Now, here's a question I want to ask you guys while we're kind of here. The film Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. I'm going to say my piece, then I'll let you discuss.
Okay.
I like the movie, but in my heart of hearts, I believe that the film was this great idea about a mental patient, and it's like, we're never going to get funding for this. We're not going to be able to sell this. But if we call it Joker, people will buy it and eat it up. Because if you look at it, he's not really the Joker. I mean, it's an idea of an origin story, but you take out terms like Gotham City, Thomas Wayne. It's just about a man who is, losing his mind and is struggling with mental illness, who puts on clown makeup.
And I agree with you.
And I think Joaquin's performance was amazing. Okay. And I think that the character of the Joker doesn't need an origin story.
But you can't help to feel sorry for him.
And I don't want to feel that way for the Joker.
I know, but in my brain, watching it, that's what you don't want to feel sorry. But then for those of you, or like me, struggling with mental issues and stuff like that, I'm like, I know why, and it makes me sad, and then I feel bad, but I know I shouldn't, and then I'm like, well, I'm in that rock and hard place area.
The movie's fascinating because there's so much in it that's an unreliable narrator. There's little points in it that you're not sure what's going on. We have the clock scenes that kind of take back to when he's in the mental ward at the end, and he says, you wouldn't get it. But also, here's something that you may have missed. And it took me listening to people talk and a second viewing. When they're watching the TV and they're talking about the people that are hurt, he laughs. And his mom says, refers, why are you laughing? But his mom knows about his issues, that he has the uncontrollable laughter. So that makes you think, is it real? Is it something his mom created? Is that part of his unreliable story that he's conveying?
Maybe it's just a tick.
I like this question.
You-
Was he
yeah.
really the Joker, or did he just think he was the Joker? Like people who think they are Napoleon.
You know,
Like-
it's one of those things. Like I kind of go back to the Killing Joke, where at the end of the Killing Joke, there's a line, and I'm paraphrasing, where he basically states, "That's one way it could have happened." And that's how I look at this movie. Is like, because at the end he's in this mental ward. It's like that could have been my story.
Yeah.
So
But here's the thing with the Joker. Like, Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing job. I love his acting. But
Oh,
I
I
don't
love your
feel like he that version of the Joker was what's the term? Was capable of being like the confident
swagger.
convincing people to actually kill for him type. At the end of the movie, yeah, he stands up and sees like all these people are like pretty much bowing down to him and giving him that the applause. But at the same time, can he command a crowd?
The
Can
charisma.
he be? Does he have that? Does he have the ability to be as insane as the Joker and have that confidence and move people to do the things that he has done?
right.
I don't feel like that was. I don't think Joaquin Phoenix was there with that movie.
I'm gonna say this to help us move along. One thing that I have applied to how, you know, the interconnected DC films is the multiverse pre-crisis theory, because the way in my mind how this works, okay, is you have Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Wonder Woman, and then Crisis happens, and you get Warner Brothers quote unquote canon Justice League. We'll toss that, and then you get Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, Shazam, Aquaman, and going forward. And I say that because we know that Ezra Miller's Flash appeared on CW's Crisis event, thus connecting that universe to the Crisis event. Because there's a lot of little things in the later half of these films, starting with Aquaman,
Hey, Taylor.
that don't quite line up.
Taylor.
Yes.
Keisha needs to go.
I am going
Keisha.
to head out, but it was lovely being with you guys, and thank you for
Thank you, Keisha.
doing the fundraiser. It was super fun, and I will talk to you guys soon.
All right. Bye, Keisha.
Hi,
Bye.
Keisha.
A-Cup creations everywhere.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. Okay, go on, Tyler.
No, because, you know, we have like, you know, Birds of Prey, which is a different tone. I think it's Margot Robbie's best performances as Harley in that film.
Margot Robbie does an amazing job as Harley, though.
And what I like
that's
is
just
when
my
she
opinion.
changes. If you watch that film, especially, you see more, and you see little bits in Suicide Squad, and very little in The Suicide Squad, when she turns on the Harleen, where she kind of goes back to being Harleen and her intelligent background as a psychiatrist before she flips back to Harley. I wanted to get this with Keisha. We were trying to, but what did you think of The Suicide Squad?
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. But
Fair enough.
I'm like from what I saw of the first Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, like a lot of people have been picking apart and stating why they didn't like it and all that. But what I enjoyed from those movies is the action sequence and the Margot Robbie's ability to, you know, take on the role of Harley and embody her. And the one of the like the fight scene in the cop station, just like in Birds of Prey.
I
Like,
love that.
come on, that is an insane fight scene.
Birds of Prey is an interesting film because it seems like parts of it, like that scene in particular, was directed by a different. It was directed more on this. I can't remember which. It was one of the John Wick directors that did it.
Oh,
I
okay,
can't
that
remember
makes
which one.
sense.
And it feels like it's one of those things that they were like, Kathy Yann's directing this film, and you're like, look, we need more of something in this movie. So they get this amazing action set piece in that film, and I like that movie. I don't like a lot of times when movies jump around in time because I feel like it's a cheat
Yeah.
of making a linear, story. I loved Ewan McGregor. I hate that he's gone in that sense. And Kelly, I'm gonna spin this back to you. You talked about them taking chances on characters that are not known. Well, let's look at Peacemaker.
Yes.
We got Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad, and now we have Peacemaker the series. And the only reason that series really is going is because you have John Cena. And that's
Agreed.
why people are like, interested, because if you just got the character, people are like, who?
I also think HBO Max is making Warner Brothers feel a little more comfortable taking risks on the small screen, like sending things directly to streaming. So we're seeing they're going to be doing a Batgirl movie.
I have a picture in the slideshow here of the future, and Batgirl is one that is filming. We've had, pictures of her costume, and that'll be this year.
Let me add that back to the stream, and
it's all good. But yeah, they just, coming up. I don't have a slide for it because.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
And then they also, while we wait for Tyler to come back, they also announced a Black Canary movie, and I'm so excited. I know people are naysaying it. If it's not your thing, people, that's fine.
The problem is that's the fanboy mentality. It's like as soon as you see, we're going to focus on women from comic books. It's like, oh no, why do we have to do this when we don't need it? And it's like, no. The woman already existed in the comic books. We're just allowing them to have more.
People are mad that the actress doesn't look like the comic books.
I'm not even going down that rabbit hole.
I'm sorry.
We'll leave that alone. I don't want to go down it either. It makes me angry. As a Black Canary fan, it makes me angry because I loved her in Birds of Prey. It was not exactly...
That was a great character.
It was not exactly her comic book story, but for me, that was closer to the comic book Black Canary than any other live action Black Canary. Yeah. And again, come at me, bros.
We've had what, 4? Not counting Journey, we've had 4 Black Canaries. We had 1 on Smallville, 3 on Arrow.
More than 4. We've had 1 on Smallville, 3 on Arrow, 2
Birds of Prey
in the Birds of Prey series.
Yep.
And granted, Lori Loughlin's probably actually was closest to the comic version, but she was only in 1 episode.
Just like we had Harley Quinn in 1 episode as their therapist. That I don't even think that one aired. I think that one only exists when they released it on DVD.
No, Harley was there all season.
Was she there? I haven't watched it in 7 years.
Harley was played by Mia Sara, and she was a strong villain, but she wasn't dressed as Harley.
No. She didn't reveal her. I can't remember. It's been too long.
She was Dr. Harleen Quinzel pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then she donned her Harley outfit for the last one. Spoiler alert for this 1990s show.
Hey, it came out in 2000
or early 2000. Yes.
Because it was like that big thing. It was going to be connected to like Smallville and Birds of Prey, which it was on Earth 2. But
unfortunately, they didn't give it as much of a chance as they could have, because fans were mad that Batman, they're like, oh, Batman would never leave Gotham. So that was the big thing that fans got hung up on.
I was like, that's a mystery. Like, this is his daughter. Like, maybe he's dead. Maybe he's locked away. Maybe, like, what's, the mystery story that they're, what's going on?
What's he doing?
We got Oracle, a great version of Barbara Gordon there. And so, our time's coming short. I hate it because I feel we could go forever. That's why I'm, you know, upcoming films we have, like we were talking about, Aquaman 2 will be this year. We have um, Black Adam, we have The Batman, and we have the Flash movie are all coming this year.
Yes.
And we have the animated film of the Super Pets that's coming this year. And then next year we have the Shazam sequel. And back to my multiverses, Wonder Woman 1984, is post-crisis because that film feels so disjointed from all the other films. What did you ladies think of that film in a nutshell?
Oh, it wasn't my favorite. It also did not, even though it was the same director and cast, it didn't feel like a follow-up to the first Wonder Woman. It was very different in tone and quality.
The bad guy kind of seemed out of place in that film. I don't know.
Here's my pitch for you two ladies of what Tyler would have done for 1984 Wonder Woman. It would have been a film about sisterhood. It would have been a smaller scaled film. It would have been Diana working on the museum. She meets Barbara. They're in the jungle. Barbara and her form this strong friendship sisterhood, but Barbara has other intentions because she wants more. She wants to feel. She becomes the cheetah. They have a battle. And it was more in the vein of like The Wolverine, where it's a very small scaled film. It would never have been this grandiose adventure, this, Maxwell Lord magic, her on TV type thing. It would have been very much a personal film about her trying to connect to another person and create a new sisterhood.
That would have been way better.
That definitely would have been way better.
I quote 1984 to kind of like Batman 89 is like Wonder Woman 17. It's a split between director's vision and producer studio. But then it succeeds, so they give the director freedom to do what they want, and we get Batman Returns and Wonder Woman 84, where it's much more of that director's ideas and not so much. And they didn't hold the reins.
For me, the costume kind of reminded me of, how they're constantly releasing Batman toys. Mm-hmm. But it's like Batman would never wear anything like that. What are you doing? It just reminded me of a Wonder Woman toy that it's like, let's give her armor, but it's like no point to the reason why she'd wear it at all.
Well, it was a nod to Kingdom Come, but it wasn't earned.
And I, as much as I love the opening scene, it definitely felt very out of place in the film. I almost feel like it would have been an awesome short film, like on a DVD extra, Blu-ray extra.
Yeah.
But it felt out of place. And we won't even go into how they brought Chris Pine, Steve back, and that whole awkwardness. I had to point something out.
Leap thing.
I had to point something out to my wife, and when I did, she was like, "Oh, ew."
Yep.
I'm like, "Yeah, it's a."
I'm gonna avoid talking about that because it makes me upset.
It's
gross.
They didn't have to do any of that. They honestly,
they made it more complicated than it needed to be.
So much more complicated. So gross. So. Okay, let's end on a more positive note.
So we have the upcoming film slate. I'm excited for Black Adam because I like The Rock. Who doesn't like The Rock? Okay. It's also new characters. We're expanding. We're going to have Hawkman in it. We're going to have Dr. Fate played by Pierce Brosnan in it.
I'm so excited.
We're going to have, Aquaman 2, which is going to be exciting. I love James Wan as a director. But what are your thoughts on The Batman? Like, I'll just say this, that it's a movie that I didn't exactly want, but I'm actually extremely excited for. I'm loving, I'm not sold on the costume, but I love the look of the Penguin. I love the look of and the feel of Gotham. I love the music I'm hearing. And I'm excited. I try to be positive over everything. So I'm excited for it. It's, it's one of those, it's, I would have liked to have seen an Affleck solo film. That's not what I got. I have this. I hate that we're always going back to like Batman when he first starts, but this seems to have a little bit more of a fresh approach. So I'm up. What are your ladies' thoughts?
I'm willing to give Robert Patterson a chance and see where he takes it. I'm hoping that that the directors, whoever is directing it and whoever is writing it, has full control rather than listening to the studios and what their vision is.
I really believe Matt Reeves has more creative control. It feels like that. Matt Reeves has directed the last 2 ape films. So Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes, Let Me In, Cloverfield, and I feel like there might be another movie I'm missing. I know those are 4 that's coming to mind. There might be another one, but I feel like he has control. I mean, the movie's going to be 2 hours and 55 minutes.
Okay.
So he's got to be able to, have some sort of say in where they're going. And I know Kelly, you and I wanted to get to talking about.
No, that's okay. We'll just have to do a podcast date to talk about the Long Halloween. So spoilers for anyone for
that was going to be my segment from the Batman into we're at the end of our time. Yes. Everyone, if you're watching, we've been chatting about DC films, their history, where they are, what we think. We're raising money for Valerie here at the bottom. Please go. We're at $3.95. We're putting a lot of hard work into this, and we really, the money is for a good cause to help with her Parkinson's, medical expenses and things that we really hope that people will see this, and maybe even on repeat viewings. I know I plan to keep sharing everything through the podcast that I host, the Krypton Report, and just kind of spread that information about what we're doing here, because it's been a great time. I mean, we're having fun chatting, and we've talked to a lot of great people. And we've had so much fun that Kelly and I have to go and do a podcast at some point to continue the conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We can bring everybody into it.
I'd be willing to join in on this conversation again if you guys want to revisit it.
Yes.
Because I feel like we've only touched a little bit of the surface of what movies should have gotten a better chance.
So Willow, where can we find you?
You can find me all over social media except TikTok. There's my so pretty. There's my progress thus far.
So good.
Anyway, so you can find me Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Facebook is a big thing, and same with Instagram. I am the program director for the Hanging with Web program, Hanging with Web show. I also do Cryptid Crunch on Back of the Cereal Box, and I'm coming February 2nd is a new show with me and Heather Bedore. We're called The Sideshow. So
congratulations. And what about you, Tyler?
Well, like I was saying, like you can find me at Krypton Report, anything Krypton Report on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We're talking about all things, basically it's Superman based, but all things DC. I like to hear the sound of my own voice. So
we like to hear the sound of your voice too.
I don't like to hear my voice. That's why editing is so hard. I'm like,
Well, you can find me at linktree.com/PhoenixesCosplay. There you can find all my podcast stuff that I do for Back of the Cereal Box. You can find my cosplay stuff. I'm all over Instagram, Facebook. Just all my links are there. It's so easy. Keisha says, we're all amazing. Thanks, Keisha. And Keisha says, thanks to everyone who helped out. Seriously, my team is amazing. I love you all. Keisha would also love more time. Carl says, good show. We love you, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
All right. So I'm going to play our video and then we're out. Thank you, everyone who has joined us this weekend. We've had a lot of fun this weekend. Thank you, everyone who donated. please keep those donations coming. You have another, like, a little over a week. Kristen also says thank you. And thank you, Kristen. Kristen is my co-chair, my MVP, my everything. This could not happen without Kristen. We love her. She's amazing. She's a little shy about coming on air. Well, she's got internet issues. That's why she hasn't come on air. But we love her. Like, literally, this could not happen without her.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yes.
We love you, Kristen.
Thank you for bringing us all together.
Yes. Anyway, so everyone, you still have over a week to donate. Let's make this happen for Valerie. We love Valerie. Get those donations in. Let us know
It's Miss
that you donated.
Tessmacher. For those who don't know her name, it's Miss Tessmacher
Miss Tessmacher.
from
Miss
Superman the movie.
Tessmacher.
So if
We
people
love
are thinking, who is she? That's who she is.
Miss Tessmacher. We love you always. Thank you for all you've done for us, Valerie. I'm going to play this video about how you can help, and then we're out. The Multiverse Fundraiser is a benefit for Oscar-nominated actress Valerie Perrine. Ms. Perrine is known for her roles in Superman, Slaughterhouse-Five, Lenny, and so many more. We've teamed up with documentary director Stacey Souther to raise money for Valerie's medical expenses and other needs. Every donation and every post share gives you the chance to win super prizes. Go to the website listed for details.